Might I correct you there and say for the Beardbrand? There is only one Beardbrand out there, and that is. Man, I'm super stoked for this conference, and super stoked to get you guys right before lunch. I know you guys are at your highest energy levels right now, so I'll keep it pretty chill so I don't get you too excited here. Now, this conference means a lot to me because the theme is sustainability, and the thing about Beardbrand is we're really focused on sustainability. We're an entirely bootstrap organization. We launched the brand back in 2012 with a YouTube channel, our blog, with our Tumblr page. You guys remember Tumblr? Anyone? I don't think that word has been uttered in any business conference for the past 5 years. But we did launch with a Tumblr account, and we really started with organic content. The company itself, the e-commerce company, that launched in 2013 with a $30 investment onto Shopify and a promise from one of our vendors that we would pay them for the products that they were going to fulfill for us. We ended up investing between the three founders about $8,000 of our own money, and the rest has been through our profits and then, of course, your blood, sweat, and tears and equity and time. So sustainability, like you cannot grow a business to where we're at without the business being sustainable, without having profits, because without that profit, we wouldn't have the resources we needed to grow the business. So a little bit more about us. We're still a small company. We've got about 17 employees, 20 employees, something like that if you count the founders, in Austin, Texas. We're approaching 8 figures, not quite there yet, but it's been a fun ride so far, and we'll get there one day. And no debt, no VCs. You know, it's just entirely our own decisions, and it's a big thing about what I'm going to be talking to you today. As you can tell, our mission is to make men awesome, and our tagline is to keep on growing. So I say these things not to boast, but more to give you insight on what I'm going to be talking about going forward. So the purpose of this talk is, it's not about tactical, it's really about the way you need to think about your organization, your division, your company. The topic is going to be about this, the little red book. So I think I was flying on a plane back from somewhere, and I was looking out the window and flying over like the Grand Canyon. And if you guys have ever flown over the Grand Canyon, it's just like a beautiful sight. It just kind of like, you can't quite comprehend like the enormity of the natural beauty. And for whatever reason that struck me that I wanted to put down 9 different reminders that I kind of tell myself throughout life. Like these are just things where I face adversity and things to help kind of give me guidance. A lot of this is kind of like focused on stoicism and chilling your ego out and having focus on the now and breathing, just kind of stuff like that. So I'm kind of chill dude. So this book has nothing to do with men's grooming at all. Absolutely nothing. So we printed like a whole bunch of these, and we started including them into orders for free. So every single order that's gone out for the past quarter has gotten one of these books. And for me, you know, this is actually kind of a nerve-wracking thing, because the fear, I have the fear of producing this, because these are my reminders. Like, this is something that's important to me. These are the 9 things that I tell myself. Now, I'm not telling you, like, you have to have these to live a better life, but if you find value from these kind of things, then it's helpful. But the fear is, like, when you produce something like this, then you get messages like this. So this appeared on, I think it appeared on Reddit. And is it just me, or is this a little culty? Odd addition to the box, in my opinion. So, like, I wrote this book, you know, like, any kind of criticisms is like a direct criticism to me. And not only did I write the book, like, I also made the decision to print up a whole bunch of them and include them in all these orders. So, like, any kind of negativity, like, as you guys know this, like, any kind of, like, when you create something, you're going to be open to criticism and you're going to be open to people throwing you down. But on the other end of the side, you got to have confidence in yourself. You have to have the confidence in your mission. And I talked a little bit about our mission, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in the future about how to build that mission. But you need to have that confidence in your brain. You have to have confidence in yourself, because when you do that, if you only worried about your negative outcomes, about the haters out there who don't get it, who aren't completely aligned with your brand and mission, then you're going to miss on impacting the right people. And you're going to miss all the positive things that are going to come from your actions and through your efforts. So, these are some pretty cool messages. Like, these are the ones that I'm like, yeah, all right, we did the right thing. The book of reminders, pretty cool addition, by the way. Hey, I really enjoyed the book of reminders that came with my recent shipment. Is there any way I can buy a few of these to hand out to my friends? And then even cooler, hey, how do I get 200 of these? I thought it was amazing. I'd like to give a copy to everyone at the hair school that I go to. Please let me know what it would take. So when you're creating content that's aligned with your core values and your mission, then you're finding that your message is being heard and you are making an impact. But I want to explore this a little bit further. You as marketers have a brilliant ability to focus beyond your products and focus beyond the value that your products give, but what your company can do for your customers. And I want to share one more positive comment about how this little book is able to make an impact on our audience. And it's going to be long, so sit with me as I read. But I wanted to say hello and send a personal note to let you know how much I enjoyed reading your book of reminders. I shared a copy with my husband, not telling him anything other than, you should read this. And then it had a profound impact on him. Quick backstory, he was in an accident 9 years ago. His wife was killed and he suffered a traumatic brain injury. Coma for 3 months, not supposed to ever walk, talk, or feed himself. Through will and determination, mostly so he could go home and commit suicide, he was able to leave the hospital after 9 months. Fast forward, he's doing great, fully functioning, got remarried, but he has severe PTSD. Long story, but I wanted to share his story of what an incredible impact your book had on him. Now he's carrying it around and uses it as a reminder that life is good. Stay positive and stop beating himself up. It's given him a daily peace that he so desperately needs. He's so inspired that he asked me where I got it and if I could tell him where to get it printed, because he wants to write something and share it with PATE Rehab. So, for me, this was it made my year, clearly made my year. To be able to have such an impact on someone, to be able to make a difference for someone, it just drives me to want to continue to do more and want to continue to help people. So when we shift this, this kind of inclusion, the reason we did this, the reason that I included this wasn't simply because I had this idea and I wanted to include it and I can do the things I want because I can. It was because when I think about the alternatives on the marketplace, and we all recognize that our customers are free to buy from us and they're free to buy from our competitors and they're free to buy at beardbrand.com or they're free to buy at amazon.com. And I think about what can Amazon do well? Well, Amazon has 1 billion products, right? Amazon can ship really, really fast. And I don't know. For me, those are the only two advantages that Amazon has. I'm not a big fan of Amazon. If you didn't know that or not, I can bitch about them off camera. But what can Beardbrand do? So Beardbrand we can have a way better unboxing experience. We can include free things like this. We can have a way better customer experience. We have style consultants that help guys. You send us our photo, and we'll tell you, what kind of haircut you need. Is Amazon ever going to do that? Maybe, but I can't see it. We think about the hard ways that we can win our customers because we recognize that they are free to buy from us, and they're free to buy from somebody else. So you need to think about that as you're establishing your brand and the values that you bring. But what is a brand? To me, it's super simple. A brand is a promise. And this was talked about earlier in the intro. brands were established during the, what did he say, the Industrial Revolution to build trust, right? So we want to build that trust, and it's a promise. It says, I want to do this for you guys, and then you deliver on that promise, and you do that a long enough period of time, then you start to build that trust. And ultimately, investing in your brand is investing in the future, because the more you put into the brand about what you're about, what your company's about, what your products are about, then it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper down the road to be able to sell that same thing, because that knowledge has already been imprinted in your target audience about what you're about. So, yeah, man, brands are great, as you guys should know. So, here's how you build a brand. For anyone who doesn't know how to build a brand, it's really super simple. It's like stupidly simple. So simple that they hired me to come up on stage to talk about it. That's how simple it is. First thing you got to do is you got to establish your core values. You know, like these are, geez, man, it's like in every business book around the world, core values. What are our core values? Freedom, hunger, and trust. For us, we like to have them pretty simple. We like to have just simple words. It gives you a little more flexibility. But when you think about our core values, I like to think about it as a triangle. Can you all see? Triangle? All right. So freedom, trust, and hunger, they work in a triangle. They work in harmony. They work in balance. Because if you have, let's say you have someone with like super freedom, right? They just show up to work whenever they want to show up. They work on whatever project they want to work on. They're total free spirit. Maybe they don't work at all. Then they've pulled that freedom triangle point way out, and then it's essentially destroyed the trust or the hunger part of the triangle. Does that make sense? Like, so if you pull it out of whack, you got to have it in balance. So in my opinion, you got to have core values that work with each other. Now, there are some companies that have like 11 core values, and they're like these long written out sentences. And that's cool as well, like if that's the way you want to build your business. But you have to make sure that it's integrated so much into your culture that every single person working at your organization can tell you those core values. Like you go to anyone at Beardbrand and you ask them what our core values are, they're going to know. Because not only is it everywhere, it's how we hire people. It's the first question we ask during the interview process is, our core values are freedom, hunger, and trust. What does that mean to you? And then when we talk about how are we going to pick a vendor or how are we going to make this decision for serving our customer, it's like, how do our core values come into play? So your core values are your organizational foundation. In addition to that, your mission is also part of that foundation. Like, why are you even in business? Like, what's the purpose of doing this stuff you're doing? You know, are you just digging a hole in the ground and filling it back up? Or are you actually bringing value to the world? Our mission is to make men awesome. And the reason we're doing this is because we believe deep down in our root that when we make men awesome, when a man invests in himself, when he takes care of himself, he grooms himself, he finds style, he takes care of his health, and he looks in the mirror and he loves that person who's looking back at him, that he now has that confidence to take care of his family. He has that confidence to become a better father, to become a better partner. And then that grows to become a better team member, a better employee, a better boss, a better leader. And then it grows to the community to become a better community leader. And ultimately, we believe at Beardbrand that we can impact world, the society that we live in, through empowering men to be better men, to be amazing, to be awesome. And it starts from the bottom. It doesn't start from the top with policy changes and, you know, all these buzzwords and politics. We just got to get people to be a little bit better today, and then a little bit better tomorrow, and then a little bit better down the road. And that's how we're going to make an impact on the world. The third step, I would say, is kind of optional. Like, I think a tagline kind of needs to come to you. Like the classic ones, everyone knows Nike, just do it. It's brilliant. Ours, we went through a few different iterations, and we settled on keep on growing. Obviously, in my opinion, a great tagline is going to be a short tagline, to the point, And it's going to tie into your products and your brand. Obviously, for us, keep on growing your beard or your hair, but also keep on growing as an individual, becoming a better version of yourself. Now you have the foundation, right? Now you have the base. Now you know what you're about, why you're doing things. This is where the creative comes into play, right? When you think of a brand, usually the first thing that everyone thinks about is the font colors, or the font styles, and the website colors, and the photography, and all these beautiful things. Well, you can't build any of those if you don't truly understand why you're in business, and why you're doing the things you're doing, and how you're communicating with the people you want to communicate with. Once you have that foundation, then you're going to be able to understand it. It's okay, well, our target audience is men. We should probably show photos of men, right? No? You guys want some lunch, huh? But, subsequently, in our industry, there's kind of the answer to that actually may not be true. Some of our competitors will show pictures of half-naked women and, challenge people's masculinity and stuff like that. Whereas we go the opposite direction. It's all about the individual. It's about becoming a better person. And, we're not using, sex to sell our brand. We're using self-improvement and guidance to build our brand. So those kind of things do play into the decision of how you're going to be integrating your creative assets. Now, building a brand is that promise, and you want to build that promise. You want to have that consistency over time. So you need to be consistent, because, it's if you're shifting your promise all the time, no one's going to know what that promise is. They're going to be, who is this guy? But at the same time, markets change, markets shift. Your company grows. You add new products. You enter new markets. You have to be adaptable and malleable. You have to be able to craft your promise over time. So, just as an example of how it's okay to change and shift, these are some of our old taglines and missions. Be proud of your beard, be proud of your lifestyle. I mean, I think I put that up on my first YouTube video, and that was the end of it. It was one video. And then we evolved that to style for the urban beardsman. It was more of kind of announcing who we were serving, but it wasn't really, giving aspiration or guidance on what we're doing. And then we got a little more rah rah. Let's go change the way society views beardsmen. And then our most recent mission was to foster confidence through grooming, which was a little wordy and a little, past tense, to foster confidence. So we just want to make men awesome. It's just real simple, and it helps us with how we're going to craft our emails, how we're going to craft our ads and our content. Now, this is the most important thing, and probably the hardest thing to do, is you need to think of your brand as you're making strategic decisions. One thing that we want to do at Beardbrand is we want to maintain a premium, we want to maintain a premium product offering. In our mind, premium means no sales, no discounts, no hustling, no gizmos on the little spinner wheels on the website. You guys know those. Those are great for some brands, and I'm not against them. They're just not what we want to entail for our brand. And what happens is people make strategic decisions that put your brand at risk. And what are these? For instance, we could have chosen to work with a venture capitalist, right? And venture capitalists, typically their number one metric is growth at all costs. And when you put growth above all other things, you're putting growth above your brand, right? You're putting growth above your customer. And what that causes you to do is to start to make decisions that have to drive growth, So maybe you're advertising in ways, maybe half-naked women are very effective from a growth standpoint, but it's not very effective for your brand. But the VC is hey, man, if you don't hit those numbers, you're not getting your next round, and you're going to be washed up. You're going to be, on the side of the curb wishing that I don't know what the VC life is like. Or, subsequently, if you take on a lot of debt, you take on a lot of outside money, then you're out of cash, right? So you're out of cash, and you're like, oh, I got to liquidate some inventory. So put everything on sale. And then you have these like boom and bust of your stuff where you can't maintain the sanctity of your brand. So it's crucial that as you're building things out, that your strategies are based around the integrity of your brand. So that's a big reason why we haven't taken outside money, why we've stayed debt-free. And we're more okay with slower, sustainable growth than we are growth at all costs. And that, my friends, is how you build a killer brand.
And Eric, as always, thank you very much. Eric is going to lead the roundtable that starts now on building sustainable brands, and to show us what an awesome guy he is and how hardy he is. His is the roundtable because we have limited space here. We're going to have that roundtable right outside, so you'll be an outdoorsman and put your beard to good use.